What's going on, people? Welcome to another In Motion Football live stream. The draft is over. Day 3 is in the books, and today we're going to talk about where every team stands. The bulk of the offseason is over. There is a small wave of free agency that's going to happen after the draft now that teams know who they could and couldn't get in the draft. But besides that, we're just about done when it comes to the bulk of the offseason and all the major moves. So it's time. Now's the time to truly get a good look at where every roster stands and how good every team is and how good every team isn't. So we're going to get right into that. Shout out to the 4 people watching live. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Okay, so I think I'm going to start from the bottom here because I think that's an easier thing to do. The tricky thing about doing power rankings the way I do it, because what I try to do is not only establish who's better than who, but by how much. So the thing about 1, 2, 3 people, like power rankings that just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's no understanding of like how much better is 1 than 2, how much better is 2 than 3. The tricky thing about where the NFL has been at in the last little bit is that truthfully, there's been a lot of teams that are kind of in the middle. It's been a pretty mediocre NFL's like for the last year. It's been a pretty mediocre league. So this is a difficult thing to do. I think it's easier to talk about who's trash. What's good, Sai, man? Good to see you. You know what? I'll just do it now. No, I'll do it at the end. We're going to talk about the draft a little bit. But okay, first of all, the trash teams. Who do I think are the trash teams? All right, let's get Buffalo, New England out of the way. Jets and Dolphins. I think the Jets and Dolphins are truly trash. Yeah, I think Cleveland is not going to have a good time. So that's 3 teams. Houston, Jacksonville. I don't think Tennessee is downright trash, and I don't think Indy is downright trash. Yeah, I think the Raiders are trash still. So that's those teams. Anybody in the NFC East? But no, I don't think the Commanders and Giants are downright trash anymore. Nobody in this division, I don't think. This division, I mean, I think the Falcons. Okay, I think the Falcons are going to be. No, you know what? That's the difference here. So yeah, we're starting from the bottom. Oh, and I think the Cardinals are trash. So we'll get everybody else out of here. Okay, so this is the lowest tier of the NFL so far. We got Raiders, Cardinals, Browns, and Jets and Dolphins. So let's see. I kind of don't think the Cardinals are. I don't think the Cardinals' issue is that they're generally a bad team. I just think the thing is they have a bad defense and they're not going to have a good quarterback situation. So they're going to lose a lot of games. Raiders, I don't think that their offensive line is going to be good still. Even Linderbaum helps, but they needed more help and they didn't get it, I don't think. And then, yeah, the defense still has issues. So, okay. I think the most garbage. No, I don't even think the Jets are. No, it's Miami. I think Miami is truly trash. So I think Miami is going to be the absolute lowest team. I'm going to put the Jets a little bit above them, and I think it's fair to put everybody else on that level. So I'm going to put Jets, Browns, Raiders, Cardinals, Falcons. Falcons are going to come up pretty soon. Falcons are definitely going to get their recognition in this conversation, but for now, I'm going to keep it as these teams. Next layer of teams that I think should go and come into the conversation. Okay, I think this is the time to talk about Tennessee and Indianapolis. Well, I mean, like, it's fucked up. It comes to this, but it kind of depends what happens to James Pierce. And yeah, that story explains itself. And then in the next tier, I think these teams can get away from that tier. I think Washington belongs here. The Giants still belong here. I think Cowboys and Eagles are free from this tier. From these teams, kind of a hot take. I think Detroit belongs here this year. I think Detroit belongs here. I don't think Minnesota belongs yet. I think there's a tier above for Minnesota. Tampa Bay can go up. I think the Saints and the Falcons will be here. So Panthers go here. So Saints and Falcons are going to be in this next tier. This upcoming year, definitely get the Rams out. A healthy Niners are probably out of this tier, and the Seahawks out of this tier. Okay, so this next tier is Titans, Colts, Giants, Commanders, and then Lions, Falcons, and Saints. Chargers will be mid this season. Yeah, their defense is going to give them problems, I think. I think the defense is going to give them problems. But as far as this next tier goes, you know what? I'm going to get everybody here to the halfway line just to establish some proper space. But yeah, my issue with Tennessee is that I think their offensive line is going to really limit how they use their weapons in terms of Carnell Tate and their running game and Cam Ward. So I think that's going to give them trouble because I see their defense at times being effective, but not being like a strength of their team by any means. Robert Saleh doesn't necessarily have the horses he had in New York. What's it called? The defensive tackle, Jeffrey Simmons, is awesome. But if you're looking for difference makers outside of Jeffrey Simmons, you're looking at potentially Jermaine Johnson. And that's all it. I don't know if you saw my DM, but I might cook big up though. Yo, okay, I saw your DM. Here's the thing. Draft coverage is even the best people. Like I would say if you could rank people's hit rate, I think people best case scenario. No, Sai, I'm not putting them at average. I'm just giving them some space to rank this next tier of teams. But like, bro, even the best draft evaluators are kind of mid. Like, the best person in the world at evaluating talent still probably gets it right less than 50%. So like people not liking the Jaguars draft doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. I think there's issues for the Jaguars. We'll talk about it when we get to them. But I mean, I would say this is the right approach. Get onto hold the review period. There's no reason to rush to your decision. Definitely take your time. But yeah. This tier, why do I think there's I explained the issues with this team. The issues with the Colts for me are their what's it called? Their offensive line literally got a little bit worse because they lost somebody, and I don't think they replaced that player. They lost a receiver, so their offense, best case scenario, got worse. But I also think there's going to be some regression with Daniel Jones because he's coming off of a major injury, and it's year 2 of him in this offense. So I think the offense is going to be worse, and I don't see the upside on the defense to make up for that. But I would say that, like, Tennessee, like, Indy should probably be a bit above Tennessee, so I would put Tennessee. You know what? I don't think these teams are close to this bottom tier. So we're going to put Tennessee, like, here, and then Indy above them. Washington, again, bro, this team was old and ass last year, and they didn't really have a lot of resources to make themselves a better team. Their receiving situation outside of Terry McLaurin still isn't good. They still don't have a proper running back. Their offensive line is okay. Maybe some growth from Josh Connerly will make it better. No way. We're not going to let him do this. No chance. No chance. So yeah, I kind of see them down with the Titans. Giants, I think they did a lot to become not ass, but there's still a team, I think, without a lot of strengths. Like, do you see their running game as like lethal? No. Do you think their passing game is going to be like lethal? No. The only thing on defense that could be lethal is the pass rush, but also like that was the case last year too. Like, they had a good pass rush on paper last year as well. So I'm going to kind of put the Giants a little bit above Washington, closer to that Indy tier. Detroit, I think Detroit should definitely be a little bit above these teams, but I don't think Detroit's going to be good. Again, their offensive line is going to be really young. Their weapons will be a little bit better because it's the same receiving core, and then Isaac Tesla got a little bit older. But I think their offensive line not having veterans, like there's going to be a downgrade from Taylor Decker at one of the offensive tackle spots. Did they lose somebody on the interior? No, they were too ass last year anyways, but like they needed Frank Ragnow. So I think that's going to impact how Jared Goff plays. I don't think they did much to get better defensively. Like I don't think Detroit's going to be that good next year. Bro, this is the thing. It's really shit, dude. Like they always pick really likable players as a really not likable team. I kind of fucking hate them for that shit. But yeah, we're gonna put Detroit there. Falcons and Saints. So I think the Saints are gonna. You know what? I actually think the Saints are gonna have a good offense. They draft a lot on the offensive line. I think it's gonna be at least average. They have Travis Etienne. They have now Tyson and Olave. Although I think the chances of them being healthy aren't great. Defensively, I think they're gonna struggle though. So I think they belong like. I think they belong probably where the Giants go. And then the Falcons, okay, the issue with the Falcons is, bros, I think they're going to get dog shit quarterback play. So I actually think the Falcons, low key, I'm putting them with Washington and Tennessee. The thing is, bro, their secondary is probably going to be really good because last year they had a respectable secondary with young players. Young players are going to get older. They add Avion Terrell. I think the secondary is going to be solid. The edge rush spot should be good if James Pierce is free, but I mean, he literally might not be. So that's probably going to give them troubles. But most importantly, dog, if I don't know if you guys know this, but their right tackle retired. I think his name was Caleb McGarry, which is the most offensive line name ever. But he retired, and they replaced him with Jawan Taylor. If you guys don't know how ass Jawan Taylor is, ask Sai. He'll tell you. The bigger issue is that their right tackle is the blind spot of the quarterback because both of their quarterbacks are left-handed. So the blind side protector of their quarterbacks that I already think are going to struggle as a default is going to be Jawan Taylor. So I think things are going to be bad for the Falcons, man. I don't see good things for that franchise. Okay, so that's the tier of like those are the teams that I think kind of just like aren't good teams. Next wave of teams. I think I'm going to put New England. I think New England doesn't belong in the next tier because I'm assuming they get A.J. Brown. So we're just working under the assumption that they're going to get A.J. Brown. Hold on. I just realized I forgot someone. Pittsburgh needs to be down here. Pittsburgh needs to be down here for sure. Dude, Pittsburgh... It's going to be nasty. They're going to have, you know what? No, they belong in the next tier. The offensive line, I think it's going to be good next year. Based on the young players they have, don't mention his name. Bro, he's going to be the starting right tackle for the Falcons. It's going to get dark. It's going to get dark for the Falcons next year. Okay, next year, I think I'm going to take Baltimore out of it. Yeah, I think I'm going to take Baltimore out of it. Next tier, I think the Jags should be here, like in this tier with other teams. Houston, I think I have to put them higher. And then for this tier, I think I have to take Denver out of it, and I have to take Kansas City out of it. This next tier, I think I'm gonna leave the Eagles and the Cowboys here. Vikings definitely belong here. Packers. Fuck, I think all these teams. Damn. Yeah, I think all these teams would belong here. Now this makes me think. How much do I... No, I have to make 2 tiers. I have to find a way to make the rest of these teams 2 tiers. I'm so tempted to say all the other teams are like 7 out of 10. But that's not the case. Seattle, we have to put higher for sure. San Francisco, the Rams, I think we should put higher. Tampa Bay, Carolina, no. Okay, there's another tier that's, I think, meant for Tampa, Carolina, Minnesota. Then I'll take these teams out of it. I'll take... I'll take the Eagles out of it. Yeah, okay, we'll roll with that. But my issues with Buffalo are this. Hold on. Just also see when K9 is playing. Niners without injuries are a Super Bowl team, bro. It's tough. I mean, yeah, we don't know, but yeah, the Niners without injuries would obviously be better. Uh, yeah, Ravens fan. Place where I put these teams, I haven't ranked them yet. I just want to get them out of the way so I can rank the teams in the middle. Buffalo. Okay, thing is, bro, I think Buffalo's team just keeps gashing talent and they keep replacing it with draft picks, and I don't know if they hit well enough to even it out. But I think DJ Moore being their only receiver upgrade is terrible. They didn't properly replace the guard that went to New Orleans. So they're banking on more internal development. The point with the Bills is that they just keep banking on internal development. So I kind of think next year the Bills are going to be pretty mid. So I actually think that they belong like around the halfway point. Pittsburgh, I'm going to put below mid because I think that the offensive line is going to be better. But I don't think their passing game is going to be effective. Whether the quarterback is Will Howard, Drew Aller, or Aaron Rodgers, they're just not going to get an effective passing game, even with Michael Pittman. And then defensively, I think a lot of their players are going to get older, and their best players are old in the first place. So you talk about Ramsey, you talk about TJ Watt, you talk about what's his name? Casey no, it's not Casey Connor. Whatever Hayward is the good one. He's gonna get older. I just don't trust his team. Mike McCarthy is like definitely a 7-9 kind of a coach back in his day, so I take it he's good for another 7-10 season. I don't have Pittsburgh. Yeah, I don't think Pittsburgh's gonna have a good year. Jacksonville, no, hold on. Cincinnati, okay. Cincinnati's issue every year is injuries. So if we're assuming health, I think that they should probably be better than Buffalo because they have a handful of impact players. And I don't think Buffalo has that many impact players, right? The issue with Cincinnati is that they're always hurt. They're always hurt. Put the fries in the bag for Buffalo. I agree. So again, if Cincinnati somehow, some way just stays completely healthy, their offensive line is like, it's not ass anymore. It's like below average to average. That's still not good enough to be an actually good team, but it's good enough for the offense to thrive if Burrow, Higgins, and Chase are healthy. I still don't expect the defense to be good, but they do have Dexter Lawrence now. They have Boye Mafe. They added a corner, I believe. But no, they made some additions on the defense. Like again, I don't expect the defense to be good. It's just not going to be as ass as last year. So I'm going to put Cincinnati above Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Jacksonville, I'm going to put around where Cincinnati is because the thing with Jacksonville is that if you look at their team, they've done next to nothing this year. Like they've added 2 players in through trade and like free agency. The draft picks that they made, they didn't have a first round pick. So they made additions that are like not really impact draft picks. Like in most cases, drafts impact your team 2 to 3 years after the fact, right? Because rookies need time to develop. And so if your best chances at getting a rookie that's impactful early is in the first round, and they didn't have a first round pick. So like the Jags are kind of running it back as the same team next year. And the issue with that, in my opinion, is that like you're not really throwing anything new at teams. So everything they learned about you last year is gonna like they're not starting at 0 when they figure out how to play you. They are starting at like 5, and then they can go from there. So they're going to be pretty well understood by everybody who plays them, and I think that that's going to work against them. Fun team to watch. I mean, they have Jacoby Myers for the whole season now, so that should help. But yeah, man, I see some issues for them. Chargers, I think Chargers belong in the same team here, the same tier here, and the reason I say that is because honestly and truthfully, bro, their defense is run by a random person. Like it's run by a coach who was coaching at Western Michigan, and their offense is run by Mike McDaniel. So I think the offense is going to be effective, and the defense might have issues. And I think that sets you up to be a pretty average team. As is, if you look at their defense last year, it was a good defense, but it had its bad weeks, and it was coached by Jesse Minter. If you look at what they have personnel wise, what did they add? What big pieces did they add on defense this year? Nobody, I think, to make matters drastically different. And again, they're coached by a significantly less proven coach. So I think the defense is going to be bad. The offense is going to be good. I think if you're going to tune into Chargers games next year, you're going to have a great time. But yeah, I wouldn't say they're a great team. Cowboys are I mean, the issue with the Cowboys is I don't think they're gonna have George Pickens next year. I truly, truly, truly think that George Pickens will not be on the team because David Mulugeta does not play games, and George Pickens also doesn't play games, and the Cowboys actually can't pay him because on principle he deserves more money than CeeDee Lamb. But if you make CeeDee Lamb your two on in your like if you pay him as your number 2 receiver, I don't think that's going to work for CD. Like, I think you would cause a lot of problems by paying Pickens more than CD, and I think you would have to. So I do think there's going to be a pretty big issue for the Cowboys and George Pickens. So I think hold on. I disagree. Chargers will be below Jacksonville. They could be. I mean, I have them as similar, right? So it's like that's not that big of a difference. But I mean, yeah, I think Jacksonville has some serious issues. I don't trust Justin, but do you trust Trevor Lawrence? He doesn't have any premium weapons in the squad. Neither does the Jaguars, I don't think. So I kind of have that as a tier. Dallas, again, because I don't think that they're going to have George Pickens, I think their offensive line is going to get a little bit better because they have a lot of young players there. I think Javonte, if anything, I don't know. I don't see him progressing. I think best case scenario, he's the same, but there's a chance he could drop off a little bit because he stayed relatively healthy and he's a relatively injury prone player. So he's also like somebody who's new to the league last year. I think everything, including the scheme and him as a player, is going to be better understood by by team defenses next year. So I think there's going to be a drop off in the offense. I think their defense should be better because Caleb Downs is great. Chris Richards, I think that's his name, but the guy who coached the Eagles secondary that's coaching the Cowboys defense, I think he's going to be an upgrade. Like, I think the Cowboys are kind of going to be a similar team in terms of how good they are to last year. I just think it'll be for different reasons. Offense comes down a little bit, defense goes up a little bit. So, I mean, I had the Cowboys as like, they didn't make the playoffs, but you can basically say their season started when they got Quinnen Williams. And when they got Quinnen Williams, they were an above average team. So I'm going to put the Cowboys as like a touch better than that tier of teams in the AFC because there is a chance that they keep Pickens, but I kind of don't see it happening. Minnesota, look, Minnesota has had a horrible offseason. So I do think Minnesota probably belongs it has some offensive weapons. But bro, like the thing you have to think I think you're imagining rookie year Brian Thomas Jr. Like if Brian Thomas Jr. goes to be amazing again, then yeah. But if he plays like he did last year, then honestly, I don't think so. Like I think Jacoby and Ladd McConkey is a wash. I think Quentin Johnston and what Brian Thomas Jr. was last year is a wash. I think Parker Washington is probably better than whoever the Chargers wide receiver 3 is. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't think it's a serious difference. It looks like Hunter will be mainly full time after 2 years. Yes. No, and it makes sense, bro. He's gonna be if you take his receiving ability and put it in a corner, you're like, which is literally what this decision is, bro. He's gonna get a lot of interceptions. So that'll be good for them. Okay. Cowboys, I did. Vikings, yeah. So the Vikings, bro, they've done nothing. They weren't that good last year. Obviously, the quarterback was a big part of the problem. They've won 7 wins they got 7 wins with no good quarterback play. But their team got worse and they got a better quarterback. They did nothing at running back. And I just think that banking on Aaron Jones to stay healthy again is ridiculous. So I don't think their running game is going to be particularly effective. I actually kind of think that they belong probably closer to where Pittsburgh is. But yeah, I think they have a chance to be good in 2 years, but they literally don't have a GM. They haven't added any players. They drafted a guy with back-to-back foot injuries. They traded away one of their better pass rushers. Like, this team is not really built to succeed next year. But it's not because they don't have good players. It's just because like they're kind of in a weird spot with how they've been run. But I do think they could be better, let's say, 2 years from now. Tampa and Carolina. So Carolina is an interesting team because they added 2 very good defensive players in free agency. And then they made a good draft pick at offensive tackle. And then I like the Chris Brazil pick. My thing is that like I think they were a considerably up and down team. And they lost Rico. Hold on, who did they replace Rico Dowdle with? That's gonna be a big thing for me. Hold on, Panthers. Oh shit, they didn't replace Rico Dowdle. Ooh, that's an issue. That's an issue. Okay, so I think the Panthers are going to be like bang average then. I got the Panthers being pretty mid because I honestly think that them having a running game is really, really important. While while I like Tedero McMillan and Brazil, I think that there's kind of a redundancy there. They need like a different kind of a wide receiver 3 to truly bring that room together. And I don't know if they have that because even Coker is like 6'3", I think. So there's gonna be they're kind of gonna be like a one-trick pony in the passing game, and their running game's not gonna be amazing. Defensively, they should be better. They definitely should be better. You know what? No, yeah, I think this is fair. I think having them at bang average is fair. Tampa Bay, I love the University of Miami additions they made because they got Ruben Bain and Keontae Scott. So I like that. And I do think that they've needed major defensive change for a while now because things have gotten stale. My thing is I just don't trust this coaching staff. I don't think that I don't think they've done anything to get meaningfully better next year. Their offensive line is more or less the same. They added Kenny Gainwell, but they always had Bucky Irving, and he's like him and Bucky Irving do, I think, a lot of similar things in a way. Kenny Gainwell is probably a better pass protector, but like whatever Kenny Gainwell is good at, Bucky Irving's probably a little bit better. In the passing game, they lost Mike Evans, who was kind of like hurt and descending anyways, but they didn't do anything to be meaningfully different in the passing game. I think Tampa Bay is going to be like kind of where Dallas is. So that's where I'm putting them. And that gets us out of this tier. I'm going to space this out a little bit more. Space this out a little bit more because it's very clustered. But I think that's fair. I think that's how I have those teams so far. Okay, and then I think there's two tiers left. And I'm going to try to, I guess, be a little quicker about this. I think the next tier, again, if the Patriots have A.J. Brown, their pass rush is still going to be a problem. I think Baltimore definitely belongs in the next tier. Actually, I'm going to take Houston. No, fucking CJ Stroud, man. Fucking CJ Stroud. Because I think their offensive line got a little bit better. You know what? There might not be two tiers. Yeah, there might not be two tiers. I think this whole tier is going to be the last tier. Seattle, right? We saw them as a very good football team. They took some losses, and I don't think that they've replaced everyone with proven players that are ready to play right now. You hate the Cowboys, but the Eagles are not better. So the thing is that like I don't hate the Cowboys enough for it to cloud how I feel about them as in terms of how good they are. And because if you've seen me do this, you can actually go back and watch me doing this during the year last year. There was like 2 weeks of the regular season where I put the Cowboys above the Eagles in my power rankings. Like, look it up. I think it would be around the time where the Cowboys beat the Eagles and then they beat the the Chiefs. Around that time period, I put the Cowboys over the Eagles because last year I thought the Eagles played like shit. So like I'm not the kind of fan that'll just be like, oh, I hate the Cowboys, therefore they're always worse than the Eagles. The reason I think the Eagles are going to be better next year is because, like, I mean, we're going to get around to it. Actually, I may as well rank the Eagles first because we're talking about them, right? The thing about the Eagles is like, they have this pattern of alternating being actually good and kind of trash pretty consistently. And like, as an Eagles fan, what I've picked up on is that like, they need the bad years to learn what their flaws are. And then they take an off season to go fix it, right? we had a season that kind of exposed a lot of the issues with how we do things. And I think the Eagles have done quite a bit to try to address it offensively. Defensively, there were some issues as well. I think Tariq Woolen and Jonathan Grenard are going to help. I think specifically Tariq Woolen, if we had him last year, we would have had a really good defense. But having Adoree Jackson on the field was really, really difficult for us. I think we're a safety away from being a pretty good defense. Offensively, it's going to be really tough to see if Jalen Hurts can play the kind of football we're playing. We made the philosophical changes to be better next year in terms of how teams defended us. Like, we made the right philosophical change to neutralize all the team strategies to stop us last year. The only kind of issue with the plan is, one, the offensive line might be cooked from a health standpoint because Jurgens and Dickerson had to go to Medellin to get stem cells, right? That's one thing. Two, Jalen Hurts might not be able to play this kind of football. So for that reason, I'm putting the Eagles, like, in talking about this next tier. I don't think that they should be too high on this next tier. So I'm putting them above the Cowboys. I'm not putting them above the Cowboys by much. But yeah, like, I like a lot of the changes we made this offseason. There's 2 question marks for me. And if the 2 question marks get resolved, then I do think we'll be really, really good next year. But we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I don't have the Eagles that high in the next tier. Teams that I think will be close to the Eagles, I got the Chiefs because the changes they made defensively to get better, you're relying on young players. And young players might not be ready to play immediately year one and make the impact. So I'm putting the Chiefs there, also because, like, I don't think they did enough to get better on their offensive line. I don't think they got enough. They got better in terms of their weapons. What's it called? Kenneth Walker is great, but one, Kenneth Walker, like, is not the most healthy running back. Two, he wasn't a full-time back last year anyways. Like, so I think the Chiefs are going to, like, again, I have them in one of the higher tiers, but, like, not super high. I have them where the Eagles are. The other team I'm going to put here is, I'm going to put Baltimore and New England. I'm putting Baltimore and New England here. New England, why? Because I expect some regression with Drake May, not because there's anything wrong with him as a player, but because this is kind of what the pattern is for NFL quarterbacks. Like, when you have your year where you kind of, like, arrive to the scene, teams kind of figure you out a little bit, and then you rise up beyond that, right? Like, there's a pattern of up and a down and then up again in the development of young quarterbacks. And again, Drake May had his first, like, oh, I'm here season in the NFL, that he was a part of MVP conversations at some point, right? Yeah, teams are going to adjust to what he showed on tape. So there's going to be a regression with that. I don't think their pass rush is good enough. And, like, call me crazy if you want, but, like, dude, I think the distractions that the coaches created, like, that stuff has a weird way of just impacting things in terms of, like, it. Like, the Patriots as an organization used to limit distractions for a reason. They are now distractions 101. So I think that that's going to, like, stop them from, but I mean, that's, like, one of the lesser reasons. But in terms of the edge rush, and I think the regression from Drake May, I think they're not going to be in the top tier in the NFL. Top of the AFC, I definitely have Houston and Denver. I don't want to put them too high because, like, again, they have issues as well. But the problem is that Houston, we saw it. Both these teams had amazing defenses last year. They're on track to have amazing defenses again. If you look at offensively, what they are, Denver has a great offensive line. I think they needed to do more at running back, but I think Jalen Waddle and Cortland Sutton is a solid group of receivers. And I think particularly the kind of receiver Jalen Waddle is, he pushes the safeties deeper down the field, creates more space for the offense. Like, he's going to make life easier for Cortland Sutton and for whoever their tight end is, and for Bo Nix, obviously. So I think the Texans and the Broncos are, like, the 2 best teams in the AFC. For the Texans, here's the thing. They actually kind of got a little bit better defensively on paper, right? We'll see if it translates to the football field. But Caden McDonald and Reed Blankenship are actually going to make their teams better. And they got better on the offensive line in terms of they got Wyatt Teller, Braden Smith, and then Keelan Rutledge early in the draft. I think they could have done more at running back. but David Montgomery is still a pretty solid addition. And again, when I thought Houston was good in terms of being a candidate to get to the Super Bowl, a lot of people pushed back on me and said, look how bad the offensive line is. And my pushback was always, well, look how bad the offense is. And my pushback was always, the offense doesn't have to do much. They don't have to do much at all. And we saw that. All CJ Stroud had to do was not throw 5 interceptions. That's all he had to do. And he still couldn't do it. So, the thing is that like the kind of player David Montgomery is, he's the kind of player that's going to get the ball out of CJ Stroud's hands. If your offensive line functions even decently well, David Montgomery is the kind of player that's going to churn out drives, eat up clock, and have the ball less in CJ Stroud's hands. Their young receivers are going to be better. I think in terms of CJ Stroud's question marks, that's the only thing stopping me from saying they're the best team in the NFL. But that roster is really, really solid. Okay, in terms of the Packers and the Bears, I'm going to put the Packers down with the Eagles and the Chiefs in that tier. I think the Packers again, look at their offseason, look at their team. They didn't do much to shake up their team in any sense. Like their offensive line is probably primed to be a little bit worse. Josh Jacobs can't get better. If anything, with age, he'll get a little bit worse. At the receiver spot, they had so much depth that losing pieces isn't necessarily a bad thing, but they're relying on Matthew Golden to get better. So I don't know if that's gonna like pan out. I didn't see much for me to say. And of course, receivers can take time to develop. Maybe he's amazing, but I didn't see it. So when I look at this team, this is a team that did not much to get better, and they were missing draft capital, so that obviously made it harder. But no, I don't see what Green Bay did to push themselves over the top. They're not even going to start the year with Micah Parsons, I don't think. So I'm putting Green Bay in this tier here where like they have something to prove. With Chicago, I'm going to put Chicago as a little bit better than Green Bay because I think, if anything, they show that they're a little bit better than Green Bay. But even Chicago, I think, had to do quite a bit to just like get back to where they were last year. They lost both their safeties, so they added 2 good safeties in Thieneman and Kobe Bryant. But like you're talking about replacing 2 safeties in Brisker and Bayard that played well, right? They're still going to play Tyreek Stevenson, so I think that's a problem. At linebacker, they replaced Tremaine Edmonds with Devin Bush, which is like might be an upgrade, but I don't think it's going to be like a serious upgrade. Their defensive line had issues. They're still going to have the same issues. Offensively, between Bradbury and the rookie they drafted, there's a small chance the rookie might be amazing from the get-go, and that helps them replace the center. What's his name? Dahlman. But realistically, their offensive line is probably going to be a downgrade, especially with Ozzie Trapillo being hurt and them having to go back to Braxton Jones, who they benched for Ozzie Trapillo because Trapillo tore his knee up in the playoffs. So you're looking at probably some regression at the offensive line, probably some progression at receiver. But at running back, I don't see like Monangai becoming a much better back. Like I think the Bears are a little bit better than the Packers, like that tier there, but not much. I think the big thing is though, like the reason why I have them still as a solid team is because Caleb, Luther Burden, Roma Dunze, like the progression there in Ben Johnson's system. And honestly, this is just me like really just showing how much of a believer I am in Ben Johnson. I think those 3 pieces getting better next year with age and getting more used to that system, I think what they could do for the team is pretty significant. So I have the Bears a little bit above those teams. The Niners, again, this is the tricky thing. Like a healthy Niners team is obviously pretty good. We saw them win a playoff game with all those injuries. The Rams, again, very good team. They got better. I'm going to go ahead and put the Rams. I'm going to put the Seahawks with the Bears because, again, like obviously we saw how they played last year. But again, who is the Boye Mafe replacement? And the answer is nobody that's proven to be as good as Boye Mafe. Just a young player we hope is as good as Boye Mafe. Who is the Tariq Woolen replacement? We're not sure, but we hope it's somebody that's going to be as good as Tariq Woolen, right? Kenneth Walker, I actually think Jadarian Price is a completely reasonable replacement. But yeah, like there's a slight step back that I think has me like not putting Seattle up and out ahead of everybody else. I'm gonna put Seattle right with LA and those other teams. And the Niners, I'm gonna say, because this is tough. Like a healthy Niners team is amazing, but we never, ever get a healthy Niners team. Now, they have Raheem Morris as a defensive coordinator. That's an excellent choice at defensive coordinator. But I think Robert Saleh is a little bit better. So there's a slight downgrade there, although they're going to be healthier. So then that works in their favor. We're going to put the Niners in this Bears tier. I just can't do it, man. I can't do it because of health. Like, we're going to say that the Niners look like they're going to be a damn good football team next year. But the Dijon Stribling draft is weird. The draft pick is weird. Ricky Pearsall, I still don't know how that's going to work. Christian Kirk and Mike Evans would probably be good. But, like, we also know that those players don't stay healthy. Their offensive line, as is, outside of Trent Williams, I've never rated them too highly, and Trent Williams is only a year older. They don't have Kittle to start out, but to be honest, their backup tight ends seemed to fill for Kittle pretty decently whenever he was hurt last year. Yeah, I'm going to put them in the tier with the Bears. But yeah, this is how I have the NFL right fresh off the draft. And mind you, right, like this is no thinking, no analyzing, no studying, just purely my feelings based on how the draft went, how the offseason went. We're going to see a bunch of free agency stuff still happen. So there's still stuff that could change this. Obviously, I think the next time I'm going to do this is probably like beginning of training camp times. So I'll revisit this in July and then obviously before the season starts. So we'll be talking about this then, people. Shout out to everybody still here. Anybody new, anybody who is a regular on this channel. The support is appreciated across the board. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys, I think tomorrow. I'm going to do a bit of a second wave free agency preview stream. And then that'll be that. For the rest of the offseason, I'm doing streams every Sunday night talking about a different division. So that's how we're going to do it. But yeah, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in a bit. For all the homies in here, yo, I'm going to be there for Nuggets Timberwolves in like 5 minutes. So I'm setting up the basketball stream. I'll be there real quick. So big up, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'm out.